Are you at a place in your guitar playing where you're trying to play bar chords and it just sucks? Well, hate to say it, but there's a reason for that. And today I'm going to break down the 5 most common mistakes that people make when they're trying to learn bar chords. And if you can commit to doing every video in this 5-part bar chord challenge, you're going to thrive changing between your bar chords, really understanding all the different types of bar chords and be able to play them in any song. These little tricks are going to make your life so much easier and hopefully make the guitar playing a whole lot more fun, which is what it's all about. And if you're a guitarist that's still struggling to play like open chords and basic guitar stuff, please check out my free 7-day guitar challenge, because that takes you through all the bits and pieces of basic left and right hand technique to make sure you're playing this instrument the absolute easiest possible way. Alright, let's get into it. My name is Jay Hoad. Welcome to this video. In today's lesson, I firstly want to show you the top 5 mistakes that people make when they're trying to learn bar chords, so you don't do that and make it really easy for yourself. Here we go. Mistake number 1. The first mistake that people often make is super obvious, but it's holding the guitar the correct way. So make sure you're holding the guitar right, okay? Make sure the body's flush up against your body. Make sure the headstock is pointing up gently, and that you're not tilting the guitar back like this to see where you're going. Tilting the guitar back like that, it makes it so much harder to play, and you kind of have to almost dislocate your shoulder to get your hand in the right position to even play the bar chord. So just double check. You might want to look in the mirror, make sure you're holding the guitar the right way. Secondly, make sure you've got a really good technique with your left hand. If you don't know what that means, please make sure you check out my 7-day guitar challenge to make sure your left hand is in check, and make sure you can do basic exercises like this. Etc. Thirdly, make sure your thumb is in the right position. If your thumb is up really high on the neck like this, it's going to make it really hard for you to play bar chords, okay? So I like to have my thumb down a little bit, ideally like this, so I can bring the hand around the front of the neck. My kind of rule is that the bone of the thumb, the knuckle of the thumb, should be around the middle of the back of the guitar neck. It really depends on the person. Everyone's different. Some people have bigger hands than others, but generally if your thumb is up here, or if your thumb is down here, it makes it really hard to play a bar chord. So again, make sure that knuckle of your thumb is sort of around the middle of the neck, and make sure the thumb ideally is in the center of that position of where the bar chord is going to be, or around the index finger. Definitely not too far down here and not too far down here. That just makes it hard. Fourth, make sure your fingers are right up to the frets where possible. I always see this with people when they start playing bar chords, and they might have their arm like this and they'll have their elbow right out like that, okay? So trying to stay nice and relaxed, keep that elbow close to the body, and have that bar, if you can, built right up flat behind the frets, okay? So just behind the frets there. The further back you go, the further you have to stretch these hands up, and if you have your finger on an angle like that, that makes it really hard. So just trying to relax, keeping that elbow close to the body there, and bringing that finger around like that. Again, that thumb position that you've already set up there is going to make all the difference to make that easy. You want to make that all really nice and easy, so the guitar just kind of fits straight into your hand, just like that. That's also going to make it just that little bit easier to get the rest of the fingers up to the frets, so again, you don't have to stretch too far. And number 5, really understanding where the 2 main bar chord shapes actually come from, which is where we're going to start today with the first bar chord. Now this first bar chord shape I actually call an E shape bar chord, because it comes from an E chord. So that's just the standard open E chord that I've got there, all 6 strings with my pick. Now the principle of building a bar chord is simply taking all the notes of an open chord, let's say an E, and firstly moving them all up 1 fret. Let's take a closer look. So imagine you're playing the E chord and you go to move those notes all up. Now what I've just done there is I've taken those 3 fretted notes that I've got my fingers on and moved them up. But obviously the 3 open strings around that, the low E, the B string and the high E at the top, have not moved up, okay? So it's going to sound kind of weird. Now this is where bar chords come in. Now don't try this just yet. I'm going to make this a lot easier for you up the fretboard, but just stay with me for a second, because I really want you to know how these bar chords are made in this principle. So the principle of this bar chord, again, if I took all the notes of that E chord and moved it up, now what I'd have to actually do is take this white bit of the guitar, that's called the nut, and I'd have to actually move that up 1 fret as well. So the whole chord, not only the 3 notes that I've got my fingers on, but the nut itself actually moves up 1 fret. And that's basically the principle of a bar chord. So I've taken all the notes of an E chord and I've simply moved those 3 notes up 1 fret. And to accommodate, I've also moved that note from the nut up 1 fret to move all 6 strings up from an E up 1 fret, which would actually be an F. Now, if you don't know the names of the notes on the guitar fretboard or basic music theory, feel free to check out my videos on that. There'll be some links in the description below. But basically, if you move from an E chord up 1 fret, you're going to have an F chord. The cool thing about these bar chords too is the lowest note of the chord always tells you its name. So that's an E chord, of course, and the lowest note there is an E. So if I go up 1 fret, I've moved the bass note from an E up to an F. This would be an F sharp. If I go up again, then I'd have a G sharp, an A sharp, a B, and that's basically how it works. Super simple. So let's talk about building this first bar chord today and getting used to that shape. Now, I always tell my new students that it takes about 3 to 6 weeks for these to start to settle in and feel somewhat comfortable, and often more than that for them to feel really comfortable. But all these tricks you're learning today are going to make it really easy. So I recommend to start firstly on the 5th fret. So the 5th fret's a nice kind of comfortable position where I can sit again comfortably on the guitar. Make sure we're holding that guitar just the right way like that, and I'm going to put my first finger right up to the 5th fret of the guitar like that. So I'm going to bar my first finger right across that 5th fret just like that, not like this, just like that. Okay, again, that thumb, for me, it feels comfortable to have that thumb sort of in line with that index finger there. You might have to move that down a little bit, but it'll be somewhere around there. Next, we're going to start to build that E-shaped bar chord up here. So I'm basically going to start building an E chord right there. So my first finger again is on the 5th fret. I'm now going to put my second finger here, okay, on the 6th fret of the G string. Now I'm going to reach across and try and put my third finger there on the 7th fret of the A string. Again, please watch where your thumb is at the back of the neck. If it's up here or down here, it's going to make this hard, or even down here, okay? Just nice and relaxed. Think if you weren't holding the guitar, how would that kind of sit? Just like that. I'm all very relaxed here. So again, first finger here, second finger here on the 6th fret. I've got my third finger here up on the 7th fret there, and then I'm going to squeeze my pinky in just behind there on that 7th fret of the D string. I'm going to try and again keep all these fingers as close as I can to the frets. I always say about the thickness of a guitar pick, just behind the frets there. You can see a bit of a gap in there, and then getting those other fingers right up there. Then I'm going to try with my right hand playing all 6 guitar strings. That is what it's going to sound like. Now you might have some dead notes. Yours might sound a little bit more like this. So a couple of things to watch out for. Watch the angle of your fingers here. Eventually you want to get those up on a bit of a 90-degree angle. Ideally, like see the second finger here is sitting right up there on that 90-degree angle. If I have it hovered over like this, it's going to actually clip that next string and make those high strings dead. But if I can really get that up like that, it's going to let those other strings really ring through. Honestly, when you start playing bar chords, if you can get 3 out of the 6 strings ringing to start with, that's a really good job. Over the next few days, you'll get 4, and then 5, and then 6. It just takes time. But for now, let's see if we can just clean that up a bit better. So maybe try building it again. First finger right up to the 5th fret there. Second finger there on the 6th fret of the G string. Third finger just there on the 7th fret of the A string, and pinky just up there on the 7th fret of the D string. Watching where that thumb is in the back, staying relaxed, watching that your elbow isn't right out there, or you're not trying to lean in or tilt the guitar back like that. Watch all that stuff, and then getting that nice and clear like that. It will take some time. When you're practicing bar chords, try not to practice them over and over for too long. It's quite hard to hurt yourself with repetitive strain injury on a guitar, but if there's going to be something that's going to do it, it's going to be trying to practice a bar chord for like an hour non-stop, having never played a bar chord before, because it takes quite a bit of strength in your muscles. So if you feel any discomfort at all, just stop and go and play something else that's a bit more simple and a bit more comfortable for you. All right, let's just try it one more time together. So from scratch, making sure we're holding the guitar the right way. First finger flat up there, right up to that 5th fret there. Second finger up there on that 6th fret of the G string. Third finger and 4th finger squished in there. Trying to be nice and relaxed, putting that pressure down, and all 6 strings. Well done. That's great. It's getting better every time. Again, if you're not sure that you're using the easiest right hand technique or easiest left hand technique with more of the basic guitar stuff, please do my 7-day guitar challenge. It's so easy, it's free, and it's heaps of fun. So that'll get you really confident with everything, so then you can jump easier into bar chords. In day 2 of this bar chord challenge, I'm going to show you the other most common bar chord shape, how to build it, and the differences between that one. And in day 3 and 4, we're going to learn to change between them and do all kinds of cool rhythms and stuff with it as well. So you're going to get really comfortable really quickly. Take your time, have fun. I'll see you in day number 2. Thanks so much.